What's up guys, it is Lutfi and today I'm at the Premier League website looking at the fixtures for the 2016-2017 Barclays Premier League season, and this is a new series. I'll be calling this series the Fixture Analysis Series, in which I'll go through the fixtures for some clubs in different categories, meaning I'll start off first with the big clubs and then moving on to the middle tier clubs and finally to the bottom of the table kind of clubs. So in that way, we can zoom into the players that are important to us. So you can get a number of players from the big clubs and then another set of players from the middle clubs, and lastly just one or two players from the bottom of the table kind of clubs. And that way you can have a really balanced team, because you don't want to pick all your players from the middle tier clubs, because that way you are not guaranteed the goals or assists or even clean sheets. But if you manage to mix it up a little with clubs throughout the table, then I think it is pretty safe and you'll be able to score a consistent amount of points every week. So today I'm at fixtures for game week 1, and as you can see, Leicester open up their title defense away at Hull, and it should be a really interesting match because we want to see how Leicester is playing this season. I don't think they'll be able to finish top 4. Don't get me wrong, I'm a great fan of them, but I don't think it is possible with Manchester City's Pep Guardiola, Manchester United's Mourinho, even Arsenal Wenger with his Arsenal side. You can't count them out. And not to mention Chelsea's Conte, which looks pretty solid. He is a great manager. So it will be another really interesting season, seeing how things would go up straight from game week 1. Alright, let's begin with Arsenal and then move on to Chelsea and then Leicester. And in my upcoming videos, I'll be doing the two clubs from Manchester City and United, and I'll then be covering the middle tier teams such as Everton, Southampton, Stoke, and so on. So if you guys are new to this channel, do subscribe to me. Once the FPL app is launched, I will be coming out with a ton of content, so hope you guys do stay tuned with it. And if you do enjoy this new series, the Fixture Analysis series, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate the support. Now let's begin with Arsenal and take a look at their first 5 matches. Arsenal are hosting Liverpool at home in the first match of the season, and it should be a pretty interesting match because for me, I think Arsenal would have some trouble in this matchup due to the fact that some of their key players may be given a rest at the start of the season, maybe a couple of matches into the season before Wenger starts playing them back, because players such as Koscielny, Ozil and Giroud, they actually took part in the Euro 2016 and they probably need some extra rest before the start of the season. And not to mention Alexis Sanchez, who during the final of the Copa America Centenario was subbed out before the penalty shootout with an ankle injury, and I'm not sure how fit he is right now, but if they were to really be out with those 4 players, then Liverpool stand a good chance in getting 3 points here. I know Liverpool having some defensive issues with Martin Skrtel leaving the club, but I think apart from that, if they're able to score a few goals past Arsenal, then I think the 3 points belongs to them, because Koscielny is really the heart of Arsenal's defense. I mean, Bellerin and Monreal are really good, but they are the fullbacks and usually come out in support at the wing, and the center halves are the main defensive players. And Koscielny, I think, is really good, and they'll be missing him a lot if Wenger decides to rest him for the first couple of matches. So I foresee Liverpool getting the 3 points here, and I think it is wise to stay away from Arsenal players for the first couple of matches until those players are back playing in the starting 11. The next match Arsenal have is a pretty tough match too. They visit Leicester City, the defending champions, at the King Power Stadium. And this should be a really interesting match. Leicester played really well last season, but the interesting statistic right here is Arsenal were the only team to beat Leicester, both home and away last season. No other team were able to complete the double over Leicester last season. And if Leicester don't maintain their 2015-2016 performance, then I think Arsenal would be able to brush through this fixture really easily. Next up, Arsenal will visit Vicarage Road playing Watford. Watford last season had a really good start. Troy Deeney and Odin Igalo had a brilliant partnership at the first half of the season, but somehow Igalo stopped scoring and Deeney took over the scoring, but it wasn't too much, but it was just enough to land Watford some victories here and there. But defensively, Watford weren't too good in the second half of the season. But do remember their goalkeeper, Hurelo Gomes, was really good. If I'm not wrong, in one match he had 2 penalty saves and got a ton of points. So depending on how this start of the season is for Watford, I think Arsenal would be able to get 3 points away here. And next up, Arsenal will be hosting Southampton. Southampton somehow had a breakout season. They did really well last season, finishing in the top half of the table. And this is due to the fact that Ronald Koeman actually played really defensive with 5 defenders, 3 centre halves and 2 wing backs. And once the return of Fraser Foster, you guys don't already know it, he had that consecutive clean sheet from his return from injury, and it was a really great run. And if they are able to somehow tighten up their defense again, I think Arsenal would have some problems scoring past them. But do bear in mind that their star striker, the Italian Pele, left for the Chinese side this transfer window, and it'll be interesting how they play Shane Long up front, and would they strengthen their side by signing a couple of players to, try and finish at the top half of the table this season too. And finally, we have the newcomers, Hull City, and they're playing home against Arsenal. Arsenal will be visiting them. I think Arsenal would be getting 3 points really easily here. So if you guys want to invest in any Arsenal players, I think it is wise to take them from the 3rd game week onwards, and because it is Watford, Southampton, and Hull. And that is pretty much it for Arsenal. The 6th match for the season will be against Chelsea, and then Burnley, Swansea, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, and then Tottenham Hotspur. So not too bad first half of the season. Taking a look at how they start the season against Liverpool is a great indication on how they will perform this season. Now let's move on to Chelsea, how their first couple of fixtures are this season, and they'll be starting off their season against West Ham, and it will be really interesting to see how Conte plays his team, because Conte is a really good manager. I've seen him manage the Italian side and also a few other clubs, and he really knows how to manage a team defensively and convert the defensive movements into attack, which is really interesting. And with the signing of N'Golo Kante from Leicester, That is also a very important piece in Chelsea's style of play because I foresee Conte starting in the defensive midfield role, and Conte would look to be pushing up Fabregas, so Fabregas would not be playing a defensive role anymore, but maybe of an attacking midfield role, and that should translate him in scoring more goals and getting more assists. And on the other hand, they'll be hosting West Ham. And if you guys forgot already, Dimitri Payet had a sensational season at Upton Park, and topping it off with a great Euro 2016, just a disappointment that they did not win it. But Payet had a fantastic 2015-2016 season, and hopefully he stays with West Ham and continues his great run there. Next up, Chelsea have Watford away, and I think it will be a pretty easy matchup for Chelsea. And the next few matchup is relatively simple. They'll be taking on Burnley, Swansea, and finally two matches, which is Liverpool and Arsenal. By then, the Liverpool-Chelsea match should be really close. It is really going to be interesting seeing how Conte plays against Klopp, because Klopp's style of play is the German style, Conte on the other hand, the Italian style. So it would be a really interesting match, but I have Chelsea's Conte getting the 3 points here. And the next match is against Arsenal. And depending on how these two are having the season like, it will be really, really good to watch. But I think Chelsea would be getting the better of Arsenal in this matchup too. So it is pretty good to be picking a Chelsea players in the start of the season, because they'll be having West Ham, Watford, Burnley, Swansea, two big matches, and then Hull, followed by Leicester and Southampton. So if you guys want to invest in one Chelsea player, maybe an attacking midfielder such as Fabregas, it should be pretty good. Defensively, I think it is a good bet to get Azpilicueta if he stays in the club still, because he is a pretty good fullback, really hardworking. Last season, he was really hardworking, but it wasn't translated into FPL points, so it was really kind of a waste because he was so hardworking in the 2015-2016 season. Now, moving on to the final team today, it is Leicester City. Okay, so Leicester open up their title defense away from home against the newly promoted Hull City. I'm not sure why they're playing away in their opening match of the season. Shouldn't the champions open up their season at home? I don't know about that, but it should be a pretty easy matchup for them if they were to continue the performance that they had last season with their quick counter-attacking play. I think they should be getting 3 points here. But against Arsenal, I'm not sure how they will fare. Again, it is all subject to how they start off the season and if they are able to retain their stars such as Riyad Mahrez. I know Jamie Vardy signed a contract extension with Leicester, so he pretty much is most probably going to be staying with the club. And next fixture, Leicester will be taking on Swansea. And Swansea somehow had a pretty interesting season. There were ups and downs, and they have a pretty solid squad, but did not able to get the results that they wanted. Ashley Williams at the heart of the defense. Gylfi Sigurdsson was the unlikely hero for Swansea alongside with Andre Ayew. And if they are able to play like how they did in the good matches that they did last season, then Leicester may have some trouble. But I think Leicester would be getting 3 points here with their quality side. I know they're missing N'Golo Kanté right now, so they need to fill up that gap in the middle of the field. So because Kanté is really hardworking, and it'll be interesting to see who Ranieri replaces him with. And then they'll be facing Liverpool at Anfield. pretty tough matchup there. And then Burnley, I think they'll be getting pretty easy 3 points there. Manchester United, I think now they are a force to be reckoned with Jose Mourinho. He's a great manager, decorated manager, I should say. Really proved his success in lots of clubs such as Chelsea, Inter Milan, Porto, and also Real Madrid. Although he did not win much at Real, but he is really, really a decorated manager. And then they'll be facing Chelsea and Crystal Palace and Spurs and so on. So Leicester, I think it would be wise to invest a couple of players there. Maybe Riyad Mahrez again. He should be slightly more expensive than previous season. And I'm thinking of getting Christian Fuchs because the way Opta credits its bonus points, Fuchs somehow always get 3 bonus points, even though he does not score or give an assist. But he's that kind of hard-working player, takes corners, support the attack a lot via the left wing. And I think he's a really valuable player. And I think I'll be taking those 2 players into my team because it'll be interesting seeing how Leicester start off the season with their title defense. And that is all for my video. For the fixture analysis, I'll be coming with more videos soon. So if you guys are new, do subscribe to me and do give it a thumbs up. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, over and out.